VRChat. What is this place? I was deep in my research for a completely different video when it occurred to me. I hadn't yet attempted to tackle the most basic question. What is VRChat? Looking in from the outside, the chaos seems incomprehensible. A place like this is rare in our modern day. A wild west, untamed by corporations, unbound by the constraints of reality. So, for those of you out there who want to know more about this virtual world, join me alongside a handful of my wonderful friends as I desperately attempt to explain to my parents why I spend hours each night with a brick strapped to my face. Hi there, my name is Natasha, and welcome back to VRChat. Now, to explain what VRChat is, I feel as though it is necessary to briefly go back and explain what it has been. I won't labor on the point too long, however, as other YouTubers like Twice have gone over the history of VRChat in great depth. Instead, I want to look back and try to find the grassroots of the many incredible communities that persist on the platform today. Take yourself back to 2014. It had been 2 years since the founding of Oculus, originally a Kickstarter by a single passionate man making headsets out of his basement. This was the year that two men, Graham Gaylor and Jesse Jowdry, decided to release an extremely early version of an application they had been creating titled VRChat. At this point, it was less than bare bones. Almost unrecognizable. There was no player-created content, so there were only a couple of experiences and worlds to see, and it had a concurrent player base of maybe 20 people. Heck, there weren't even any anime girls yet. It was, in essence, still just a chat room with the same graphics you'd see in a Half-Life mod. But the grassroots, enthusiast-driven community would be born here. That small group were seeing something new and interesting being created, and they were endeavoring to be a part of it. Skipping forward a couple of years now, and we'd see the first monumental milestone for VRChat with its release on Steam in 2017. However, it was a slow start for the platform. Throughout 2017, there were still only around 100 to 200 concurrent players, and that's being generous. However, one of those players was a YouTuber by the name of Nags. He is very important to note here, as he was one of, if not the first person, to begin to create content for VRChat. His series that would span multiple years and hundreds of episodes titled VRChat Adventures is truly a time capsule for the energy of early VRChat. Nags' series would garner thousands of views and now sits archived on its own dedicated channel with approximately 20 million lifetime views. This in turn would bring thousands of new players to the worlds of VRChat, eager to experience what Nags had showcased. Nags is truly a case study for the symbiotic relationship between VRChat and its content creators. However, it was nothing compared to what was to come. 2018 is considered by many veteran players to be the golden age of the platform. Looking back on it now, though, it looked like a gateway to hell. VRChat's player base had soared seemingly within the span of a month or so, from 100 players to the tens of thousands, and they were wreaking havoc. Internet culture had truly invaded VRChat, and they were here to stay. Now, there is no way for me to avoid talking about it, and in my eyes, it is emblematic of the problematic culture VRChat was very quickly cultivating. It's the Ugandan Knuckles. For those out of the loop, thousands of players would don a crudely animated 3D model of Knuckles from a Sonic the Hedgehog and move in hordes, harassing other players with racist Ugandan accents and tongue-clicking noises. "Do you know the way?" echoed through the halls of VRChat's public lobbies. But why did this all happen? Well, sad to say, Early in 2018, a large group of users of a site called 4chan had latched onto a joke plan in which the user base would invade and conquer the country of Uganda. However, instead of Uganda, 4chan's user base instead settled on VRChat. This is very important, as while most of these people were only there for the joke, a great deal of these Knuckles users would stay and influence the culture of VRChat with their own opinions and behavior. Thank you very much for coming out to answer some questions. I really appreciate it. I will get right into it.
Yeah.
When did you first get into VRChat?
I'm a bit ashamed to say it, but it was the Ugandan Knuckles raids of 2018. Was it 2018?
That is,
It was
yeah,
2018.
it was 2018. And that is actually one of the questions that I wanted to ask you. You were a Ugandan Knuckle. What was that like?
I was. Even though there was some bad eggs in there, you really felt like a community. You felt like brothers through and through.
Yeah. And like, how would you describe that era of VRChat? Like, was it different to today? Like, how was it different?
That one's a bit tough. There's a lot of similarities because it's the same game. But then, it felt a bit more tight-knit.
Right.
If you get that.
Yeah.
It seemed like community was smaller. People knew each other. There's very few times where I'll meet someone offhand in like the middle of a pug, and then a couple weeks see them again without having them friended.
Yeah.
But it seems like back in 2018, 2017, that would have happened quite often. You would have met a dude, then hop off. A few weeks later, go to the pub, see the guy again. Oh, hey, what's up, dude? It seems like that was way more common back then.
Right, yeah, for sure. Let me make this clear. 4chan is a horrible site. From causing Apple's stock price to fall 10% in 2008 by spreading a hoax that Steve Jobs was dead, to causing an 11-year-old girl to have to be taken into police protection. 4chan's site is overflowing with toxic and problematic internet dwellers. Think of every ism and obic under the sun. These people, in their hundreds, were now arguably the majority of users in VRChat. You can still feel their presence to this day, and whether we like it or not, they were now a part of the community. Do you think that online sites like 4chan and Reddit have played a part in the way that VRChat's culture has grown?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, especially with some of the more controversial things that have come out of VRChat.
4chan has lost its grip in the past years. I feel like since VRChat has come out, Reddit, I don't know. Reddit is responsible for a lot of things. Like, you can think of a lot of things online, and it either came from Twitter or Reddit. Or some magical third place that we do not know about, and the whereabouts are unknown. But also, I don't think there's a direct correlation between Reddit and VRChat. That was what you asked. I forgot.
Yeah. And for like 4chan and stuff, they may have had a big influence before, but they've teetered off a lot over the years.
Yeah. 4chan's a discussion for another day.
Yeah, I agree. And actually, do you think online sites like 4chan and Reddit have played a part in the way that VRChat's culture has grown?
I actually wouldn't know. I've never heard of the first one, and I don't use Reddit at all, so...
You've never heard of 4chan? Oh my god, you're blessed. I will not spoil your innocence on that one. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a big social media person outside of Discord,
and you know what power
and I guess Facebook.
On the bright side, content was booming for VRChat, putting millions of eyes onto the platform, only furthering the cycle of new players joining into the chaos. However, as school and work started back up, the hype would mellow out and VRChat's player base would fall to an easy 10,000 or so players for the rest of 2018 and 2019. Now, we all know what part's coming next. 2020, the year the Earth stood still. The pandemic had hit, and millions of people were now stuck inside, isolated. As horrible as everything was, this provided a gleaming opportunity for VRChat, and it wouldn't take long for the platform's player base to steadily increase, faster than it had ever done before. By the end of the pandemic, almost 20,000 new regular players would join in the fun, seeking the social connection that the virus had stripped from them. New communities and clubs and worlds would pop up in spades, inducting a new era of VRChat, one less dominated by the 4chan culture of the late 2010s, something much more earnest and interested in finding connections. Obviously, there is far more to talk about than what I have managed to delve into, but if I was to really try to go into depth, this video would be far too long. However, we can see the core of VRChat's community, at least at a basic level. We have the enthusiasts, interested in VR as a medium and eager to advance the platform. We have the influence of internet culture from 4chan and Reddit, and finally, we have the earnest desire for connection. These, looking back, are the foundation of the platform that I believe has matured over the last almost decade of VRChat's existence. So, now that we're all caught up, it's time to move on. To understand the state of VRChat today, in 2023, we must first attempt to put ourselves in the shoes of a new user. Say this person has never experienced social VR before, but has seen videos online and wants to see what all the fuss is about. Little do they know just quite how out of their depth they will be in a few moments. See, the reality of VRChat in the present year is that it is incredibly unkind to new users. Say they open up the menu. They're not interested or aware of any of the more complicated, albeit very necessary settings, but they're eager to join a world and try it out. So they click on the Worlds tab and select the biggest world that they see, right at the top of the list. The Black Cat. For veteran players, a shiver probably just went up your spine, but the tragedy is that for most, including myself, this godforsaken world is the majority of players' first experience in social VR. So our new player just loaded in. What incredible and life-changing VR experience will they be greeted with? Oh, the anticipation. Oh, the disappointment. For those who have not visited, VRChat's most popular world is a hellhole. Our new player will most definitely be greeted by a mix of racist teens, screaming children, and trusted rank mirror dwellers with absolutely no intention of interacting with them at all. They will be ignored, harassed, and disillusioned. This is where most people will close the app, log out, and never come back. When did you first get into VRChat?
I first got into VRChat August of last year, around the same time that I got my headset in.
Perfect. And that's how you discovered VRChat? Like, what made you log in for the first time?
It was actually you. You got straight into VRChat. You told me all the ins and outs. You even started introducing me right when we started dating in 2021, and ever since then, it's just seemed like such an intriguing place to go to and to actually meet new people.
Yeah, and that's how our experiences differ when it comes to like our early experiences of VRChat, right? Like, how do you think having friends already in the game has impacted on your, your new user experience?
It's definitely made the transition a lot easier. I think if I didn't have anyone going up to random strangers dressed as anime girls and hot dogs and stuff would be a lot more a lot more daunting.
So do you think that you would have been as active as you have been on VRChat had you not had friends from day one?
Yeah, I don't think I would have been as active. I would have been more scared to actually try.
See, Our player knew no one. They had no connections. I consider it very similar to turning up to a random house party you weren't invited to, where absolutely none of your friends are attending. It's not a recipe for a good time. In this way, then, VRChat's initial experience is inherently exclusive. Something I see thrown around a bit is the idea of front page versus back page VRChat. When our new player loaded in, they were greeted by the list of VRChat's trending worlds, the ones with the most people using them, the front page. However, these are typically not where VRChat's most profound or immersive experiences occur. They occur on the back page, in exclusive invite-only lobbies, private role-playing servers, or raves, things that just aren't shown in the trending tab, and thus are completely inaccessible to a new user with no knowledge of the platform.
Do you think the trending tab, so the front page, is completely indicative of VRChat as a whole, or is it only a small portion?
Small portion, for sure.
Small portion for sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's so many
absolutely.
worlds out there that people don't know about. I mean, worlds that look amazing like this one around us. There's
Yeah,
so
for
many
sure.
worlds that I have saved that literally have nobody playing on. And they're probably the most amazing visual
Yes.
worlds out there. And
Yes,
those worlds are
exactly.
the reason
Oh,
I
I
love
agree.
VR so much.
Yeah, I don't think it's indicative at all. A lot of the it tends to be a lot of the social platforms that get put on the trending pages, like the clubs and the cafes and places where you can go to meet your people. But VRChat's so much more than a social media platform. It doesn't show all the cool shader worlds and the kart tracks that people can actually go to.
Do you think the trending tab is completely indicative of VRChat as a whole, or is it only a small portion of a greater picture?
The VRChat trending tab or a different one?
The main menu trending tab.
The main menu. Let me take a look see, huh? Let me scroll through this real quick.
Have a look, yeah.
Let me see. We got the VRChat basic home.
Yes.
Keep looking. We have some calmer worlds. One's optimized box, a classic. Just taking a quick look see. Consuming all of the information. I don't think so at all.
No.
No trending tab in the history of the planet has. What did you say?
Been
I forgot.
indicative
What
of
did
the
you say?
VRChat as a whole.
It's never been that. Never been indicative of any like website or application or whatever.
Absolutely, I
The
agree.
trending tab is always full. If we want to go off of like YouTube, that's the trending tab that a lot of people know. How many people do you think actually watch half the things on that trending tab?
Very
Not
few.
a lot. Not a lot of people.
I'd guess.
A lot of it is just randomly picked by the algorithm.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a bit of that with the VRChat trending tab. But it also seems like it doesn't rank current numbers, but more all-time numbers in the past like 30 days. So it's not like actually tracking, but it's going off of like this chunk of time. Here's what people did. And it seems like there's a lot of worlds. I look on there and I'm like, is one's optimized box truly number 4 on that list? Is that where everyone's
Exactly.
going? Are
Yeah.
you like talking to your friends and be like, we gotta go to one's optimized box, dude. We gotta go.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not the best experience on this platform, not at all. But yet it's up there.
Exactly. There's so many things. There's so many hidden gems you can find on this platform. There's so many little worlds that I feel like mean more to VRChat than half the things on that list.
Oh, for sure.
To understand the front page and why it is the way it is, we first have to once again go back in time. It's October 2020, and the Meta Quest 2 had just released, finally, an affordable VR headset marketed to consumers. For parents, it became a go-to flashy Christmas present to get for the children, and soon enough, it had become the most widely used headset of all time. However, the hell that this has caused for VRChat is monumental.
What effect do you think the Meta Quest 2 has had on VRChat?
Oh, God. I think that it has given these crazy 12-year-olds a whole new power, because not only can they use their words, they can pull the middle finger at literally everyone. Um, I think that the MetaQuest 2 has just brought in this whole new side to VRChat, and with it being a slightly cheaper headset, it's made it slightly more accessible for those who want to get into VR for the first time.
It's definitely increased the popularity of VR overall, which we got a lot more players. VRChat got bigger in player counts, but it also brought in a lot of people who really shouldn't be playing the game, mostly underage
Right, like
minors playing a game that's meant for really adult players.
What effect do you think the Meta Quest 2 has had on VRChat?
well, first, we don't use that name here. We call it the Oculus in this house, okay? Second, I feel that it's had a huge impact because the Quest 2 has risen VR player-based numbers all around by like it's
for sure.
skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Like this was, I feel like about 80% of VR players now, people who actively use it, their first experience was a Quest 2. Their first real experience. You could say that half of them used Google Cardboard or tried a Vive for like 2 seconds. But their first real at-home experience was a Quest 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
Specifically for VRChat, because of how the Quest 2 works, how it's a standalone headset that can also connect to a computer, it's affected VRChat in two ways.
Right.
One, the PC community has gotten bigger, more varied. There's way more people that you can talk to now because of how affordable and how available that headset is. But on the other hand, the other finger, if you will, it has made Quest lobbies even worse.
Yeah, it really has.
Even more vile, because I have nothing against Questies, okay? I have nothing at all. I was a Questie myself. I was a 2019 Quest 1 user.
Oh.
From year one. I was there from the beginning of the Quest line. But I gotta say, Quest lobbies, back then they were okay.
Right.
You'd still have to deal with children or very awful trolls. But now I can't go into a Quest lobby without getting bombarded by people who I imagine are about this tall and go. That's how they sound.
Yeah.
It's brought, in a more professional term, it's brought a large audience of adolescents to the game that may not have been needed.
Every Christmas since 2020, adult users of the platform brace for an inundation of screaming kids running rampant through public worlds. Popular Quest-accessible worlds like Udon Bird Sanctuary, Midnight Rooftop, and of course, the Black Cat are all constantly overrun with children far too young to be allowed to use VRChat. Children aren't the only issue, however. It is no secret that VRChat has an intense drinking problem. With a party going on every night, it's easy to get sucked into the culture. These people, binge drinking and completely incoherent, will then stumble into, and you guessed it, the public front page servers of VR. Drinking Night is a fantastic example of VRChat world completely dedicated to drinking. It too is one of the most popular worlds in VRChat, always at the top of the trending tab, and actually one of the first worlds I found myself in as a new user, much to my dismay. Finally, there are the trolls. While it may have peaked in 2018, there will always be those 4chan inspired asshats who want to have fun at your expense. I don't think I need to explain that any further. So then, that all seems pretty bad. But now, thankfully, I get to talk about the stuff that I love. Backpage VRChat. VRChat is built like an iceberg, with the front page being the tip and the back page making up the real meat of the platform. However, it makes it somewhat hard to cover. There are a lot of backpage communities to explore. So, to save us some time, I'm going to give you a tour of just a few of my favorite communities, ones that I think are representative of a larger whole. And for those who are interested in joining these groups, I'll do my best to put their links in the description below. With that out of the way, let's dive in. The first stop on our Backpage expedition is the roleplay communities. These are something that I myself have not yet participated in, but I've reached out to some current and former members of two specific groups to get an inside scoop on how they function. The first of these groups that I will touch on is a military simulation roleplay group by the name of the United Hollow Republic. Together as a group, they simulate virtual ground battles and even dogfighting in specially made worlds against working AI enemies, all within the confines of VRChat. There are group training sessions, ranks to earn through participation, and full-scale battles with up to 45 individual people in attendance. By taking advantage of VRChat's Udon system, UHR creates a simultaneously lore-rich world capable of flexing to players' decisions and the outcomes of battles, but also one that is functional, with drivable vehicles and destructible buildings. They are an amazingly dedicated and inclusive group, one which I highly recommend. Recruitment into their ranks is as simple as joining their Discord server, which is right down in the description for anyone interested.
Oh, for sure. And yeah, that's why we're here, right? Because you're part
That's
of,
exactly what I'm here. This
um,
is one of the prettiest worlds UHR has to offer.
yeah, the United Hollow Republic, right? So you guys are a
Mm-hmm.
military simulator group.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, so what's your role in that group?
Uh, I'm actually one of the commanders of our naval branch. So
Oh,
I go on teaching people how to fly in rotary aircrafts in UHR for people in ground forces to have transportation or support from the air. Excuse me, tracking.
that's a that's so cool though.
Yeah.
And like, how did you get into the group? Was it a difficult process?
Uh, no. It's actually really easy to get into the group. The only requirement is, I
Mm,
mean, you have to be old enough and you have to have a PC. Other than that, it's
that's
really
actually
simple to
really
become a
cool.
part of the group.
And you guys are just super inclusive, yeah.
We do a lot of community events and all the operations on top of that and trainings. So
Yeah, for
everyone is allowed
sure.
to be involved.
Yeah, and it sounds daunting at first, but you guys are like really keen on all skill
Oh,
levels, right?
it does sound really scary at first. I definitely was scared when I first joined,
Mm.
but it's not as bad as you think.
Yeah, I bet. And okay. How much of your time on VRChat is in connection with the United Hollow Republic? Is it like how much of an impact has it had on your
I
experience?
joined last year, but we usually host events every single week.
Oh
So
wow,
if I go
yeah.
to the ones that I want to go to, I go to those. So it
So
depends
it
week
would
by
be quite
week.
a bit then. Oh yeah, for like how many events are on?
hmm There's usually one
Yeah,
every
for
day.
sure. And of course, on the last topic on the group, would you recommend that other VRChat users seek out communities like this one and like you have?
Oh, definitely. You'll get the best experiences if you're
100%.
actually part of a group.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Now, it would be wrong of me to talk about roleplay in VRChat without mentioning Callous Row. Formed in 2019, it was a large-scale LARP spanning multiple seasons of content across multiple specially made, incredibly lore-rich and detailed worlds. And this was no small fish. It had some big names attached, ranging from large Twitch streamers like Kricken and Lolman, to one of the cast members from The Walking Dead, Chandler Riggs, who played a character named Luca Gray in the second and third seasons. Callous Row was a fascinating project overseen by a single dungeon master similar to that of a D&D campaign, with helpers who would run around delivering narration, exposition, or event points to drive the plot forward. Each of the main cast would stream their perspective online, allowing viewers to switch between the perspectives of any character they wish in real time. While it was difficult to achieve main cast status, anyone was eligible to be an extra, able to walk around to fill streets, witness events, or act as enemies in large fights. However though, Callous Row is not active in the way it once was. It had come out in 2021 that one of the founders of the project, Arcadum, had allegedly sexually harassed over a dozen of his former female collaborators. Since then, Callous Row has rebranded to Neon Divide and is currently up to their third season, and good on them too. The second backpage community we're going to look into are the ravers. There are so many clubs in VR, playing all kinds of electronic music. Every weekend, they throw open their doors for hours of live music played by DJs across the world. These parties are incredibly special to me. I'm a music lover and adore VRChat's music scene for one, but beyond the great music, the general inclusivity of these events allowed me to attend something I would never think of doing in real life, in a space where I am entirely comfortable. For some, social experiences are especially difficult, and I do fall under that category. So having an exit button, a volume slider, and the ability to customize the visual effects allows me to participate in something that I otherwise could not. And I'm sure there are a lot of people like me in that regard. But don't get me wrong, these events still pull out all the stops. There are cage dances, laser beams, crazy physically impossible worlds, and the music. It's beyond amazing. Where a local event is limited to local musicians, the raves of VRChat are truly global. On Saturday, you might choose to party at the Ghost Club, a mysterious and ethereal Japanese club, and then spend your Sunday dancing in shelter with the Americans. I see a lot of videos on YouTube acting as guides on how to join these events, but I think it's fairly easy. For most, if not all VRChat communities, you will need access to Discord. If there's a community on VRChat, it will absolutely have a Discord. So if you're interested in keeping up with these clubs, I'll link some of my favorites in the description below. Another interesting way I've found to accidentally stumble on new clubs is to friend request the VR CDN bots. They auto-accept friend requests, and requesting an invite on them at random when they come online sometimes leads you to some pretty amazing experiences. Okay, our final stop on our backpage expedition is a little more humble. For most, the hardest thing in VRChat is just finding people who want to talk, but sifting through public lobbies is exhausting. However, there is an easier way to go about things. Yes, I'm talking about social VR groups, groups that completely skip the public lobbies by holding big hangout groups in private. For this, I want to talk about one in particular, the Ancients of VR. Founded in 2021, it sought to bring the adult community of VRChat together in a safer work environment to just chill out without the fear of having to run into anyone under the age of 18. Which I'm assuming you are, by the way. You should be. This was one of the first groups I joined when I delved into VRChat's back page, and it was very fulfilling. There was a timetable with events held just about every single day that you could sign up for and attend, including exercise groups, world hopping events, concerts, game nights, quiet hangouts both large and small, and so many more. Just like every other group, the ancients are all about inclusion, and their guides are always looking to accommodate those who need it. It's a really nice space, and just like the rest, I'll link their Discord group down in the description. Highly recommend. And that concludes our expedition. Thanks for sticking with me, and once again, I implore you to explore more if you're interested. What you see in the trending tab of VRChat's main menu is only a sliver of the potential of this platform, and you never know what amazing people you could meet or places you can see until you try it yourself. Let's wrap this up. On to the big questions to finish it off. What is VRChat to you?
Oh lord. VR chat. I don't think there's even one way to explain what VR chat is because it's not quite social media. It's not quite a visual art platform. It's just this culmination of platforms.
It's like this big jumble of stuff.
Yeah, it's a massive chaotic cesspit of all of these different ideas just kind of mashed into one thing.
For sure. Sweet. Okay. Last couple of questions. They're big ones. So, okay. What is VR chat to you?
VRChat is how I talk to people past 7 o'clock.
Yeah, you know what? Fair enough. And that's the whole thing for you?
Mostly. I mean, I don't think there's been a time in the past year that I've gotten on VRChat before then. It's
That's
always
fair.
been, I want to have a person-to-person, human-to-human connection, but it's dark outside.
Yeah, that's a very
And
hard time to do that.
I'm not gonna go out on the street, see a guy, and be like, "Hey, man, what's your opinion on the new Donkey Kong?"
No,
'Cause then
that
I'll
sounds like
get
a bad
mugged.
idea. That, yeah, that is a recipe for
Horrid idea.
terrible.
So instead of that, I can hop on here, put on my half-pound brick, log on, and go up to him and be like, "Hey, what's your opinion on the new Donkey Kong?"
And it's
And they'll
fine.
either converse or they'll virtually mug me.
Oh,
That
that's
rarely
not good.
happens,
That
though. To the viewers at home, that does not happen. That does not. That was for comedy's sake. You are fine.
okay.
Big question. What is VRChat to you?
Well, VRChat to me is basically it's a hangout game, but it's a great platform to actually go exploring in multiple different worlds. That's personally why I love VRChat so much, is what we can do. And yeah,
Right,
people
because it's
can just
always
go
like
and
a
hang
big
out, but
adventure.
it's a big adventure. You
It's a
never
big
know what you're gonna
adventure for
find.
sure.
And why do you think that VR chat is important? Why should somebody care about VR chat?
I don't think many people realize the power that VR chat can have when your most defining characteristics of who you are in real life is your voice. It allows you to have this whole new power over your personality, and you can forget your social anxieties and your troubles and everything that you have on a day-to-day basis and just focus on what you love, really. And for people that can't leave their house or maybe are in wheelchairs, have some sort of impairment, it makes socialization a lot more accessible for them.
And what makes VRChat important as a platform, do you think?
What makes VRChat important as a platform? I mean, it's a great place to socialize, especially during the time of a pandemic like COVID in the last 3
Yeah,
years, everyone was
can
stuck
really
at
bring people
home.
closer.
Can't really go outside the social zone. It'd be better to be able to socialize at least a little bit so you're not trapped at home staying away from people.
Yeah,
So
for
it's just a great
sure.
way to socialize and meet new people.
I
Yeah.
feel like it's a great way to talk to people because you can always go on a message board or something. You could go on Discord, you go on Reddit, 4chan, whatever. You can try and keep up a conversation. But for me personally, I could never do that because I'm just
No.
sitting there texting, looking at. I need to see a person in front of me and see myself in a body, in a place, and then I talk about whatever I was gonna talk about.
Like Donkey Kong.
Because that's like Donkey Kong, for example. Donkey Kong Country's very good.
It is.
But actually, being on topic, it seems like a lot of people take for granted the importance of human presence. Like, you can have people that have full relationships just through text and photos and videos. And I can see how those work, but there's a key, very key thing that is missing. And that's the body, the vessel we have. It's just not there.
That's true, yeah.
Now, just for me and my hundreds of hours on this game and really like researching, like taking down notes about human presence in conversation, it's astonishing what just this visual representation can do to carry a conversation.
Absolutely.
Like, I'll see people having a little discourse on whatever platform, and it'll go somewhere, I'll be like, yeah, and then they kind of trail off and they go do whatever they were doing. But here, you see people talking, and it's just like you would see if you went out to a real bar or a real park or wherever you would be going. You see people talking like the other one is there.
Yeah.
And I think that's crazy.
That is important. That's why people should come on to talk to
That's
people.
why people
with
should care.
presence.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming out to answer my questions. You did amazing. That was phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Sweet. We can stop recording, Mr. Camera.
When I started out writing and researching for this video, I thought the question of what is VRChat would be an easy project. Oh Lord, how wrong I was. We've come all the way from the beginning, explored what made VRChat what it is today, looked through the eyes of a new player, saw the dichotomy between the front and the back page, adventured under the iceberg to the roleplay groups, the raves, and only now do I feel like we have enough to sorta grasp what this thing actually is. I see a lot of people just out of convenience call this experience a game because it's available on Steam along with the rest of the PC gaming catalog, but the reality is that it is so much more than that. And to those who call it a social platform, I don't really think that encompasses it either. I know it's lame to cite Wikipedia, but on their site they call it a virtual world platform. Yeah, the name doesn't exactly ring, but it's about the most correct way of calling it that I can think of. I was really struggled to come up with any other place on the internet where you can create and appreciate art, visit a museum, dance at a concert, drink at a bar, visit the beach, fly a plane, go on a date, watch a movie, all without switching the application. But you can do it here, in VRChat. The possibilities are truly endless, and that's what I think really defines what VRChat is. It is the truest expression of the internet, a product of nearly unbound human creativity. But at the end of the day, there really is only so much explaining I can do. The best way to find out what VRChat is to you is to come in and experience it for yourself. So I implore you, dive in, see the impossible, beautiful things, meet people you could never meet anywhere else, be whoever you want. There really is no place like VRChat. See ya. Hi, thank you so much for watching my video. I thought that I would just speak a little bit at the end, just sort of off the cuff, just to get some admin out of the way. I know my YouTube channel is super new, this is my second video, and I wanted to know your guys' opinion on whether or not I should look to maybe create a Discord server. Um, I'm not getting Twitter, you can't make me. And yeah, just to keep you updated with how I'm going. Obviously, progress is slow because I've got my degree that I'm working on, but other than that, I should be hoping to get a video out every couple of months or so. Thanks for bearing with. I also want to try some smaller projects and get some, like, smaller videos, maybe some music videos for some songs that I've written out in the coming weeks. We'll see how it goes. Again, much love. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you tune in next time. For now, it's 2 a.m., and I'm going to go and pass out. Bye. Hi, just a PS. It's the following day, and I have remembered that I need to give a very special shout out to Sparrow's grandmother. She said that she really liked my first video, and it made me really happy. And I was like, oh, wait, she probably has no idea what VRChat is. I should make a video about it. So, the only reason that this video exists is because you, Sparrow's grandmother, if you're watching this, said that nice thing. Thank you so much. All right. Bye bye for real this time.